Welcome to Channel Today in History. In today's video we will talk about the day, September 10, 1759. Jesuits are expelled from Brazil. The Society of Jesus is a monastic order created in the 16th century to oppose the Protestant Reformation. The advent of Lutheranism, and, later, of other strands from it, such as Calvinism and Anglicanism, motivated the Catholic Church to react against the movement initiated by the former German Augustinian monk Martinho Lutero. Called Miles Christi, the soldiers of Christ, the Jesuits dedicated themselves to conversion and education. As members of the Society of Jesus, they received intense scholastic instruction and rigid monastic training. After a long period as a novice, the candidate entered the order taking the normal 3 vows of any monk, namely poverty, chastity, and obedience, but the Jesuits still made a special fourth of fidelity to the Pope. The Jesuits spread throughout the world, going to preach in Europe, Africa, America, and Asia. They were soon present from north to south of Brazil, in Congo, Angola, Japan, and India. Unlike other monks, they did not confine themselves as the Benedictines did, for example, but went into the field, seeking to convert. The arrival of Europeans in Brazil would open a field considered fertile for this catechetical and educational action by the Society of Jesus. The Jesuits acted in a trinomial that sought efficiency: schools, farms, and villages. The colleges were places for the formation of novices and offered basic education, being the locations where the Miles Christi took action wherever they established themselves. In Brazil, the villages were places for the regimentation of indigenous populations submitted to the process of conquering territories in the colonial expansion. In them, the Jesuits gave classes, taught trades and rudiments of Catholic doctrine. The villages would also serve as a reserve space for manpower, since, controllers of large populations of Indians, the villages of Sete Povos dos Missos, in southern Brazil, became famous. The Jesuits attracted great disagreements with the men of the colony, with regard to the use of the Indian as a worker, especially with the São Paulo Bandeirantes, who lived off the capture and sale of Indians as slaves. On the Jesuits' farms, agricultural production and other trades were carried out, such as carpentry, pottery, blacksmithing, in general with black slaves. Production centers supplied villages and schools, in addition to representing spaces for the production of goods sold in the colony, such as manioc flour, at much more competitive prices, as they were tax-free. They received huge parcels of land from colonial authorities and private donors, always with the argument of sustaining their missionary activity. With the rise to power of the Marquis de Pombal, Sebastião de Carvalho e Melo, under Dom José I, in the context of the gold production crisis, his privileged position in the Portuguese colonial empire would be put in check. A supporter of administrative rationality, Pombal sought to centralize power, and saw in the Jesuits a state within the state, a threat. In an intense defamatory campaign, he obtained authorization from the king for the kidnapping of all the company's assets, and its expulsion from all Portuguese possessions around the world. In Brazil, all of its schools, farms and villages were kidnapped, some of these structures being maintained by the state, and others being auctioned to private buyers. Without exception, all the Jesuits' property was taken and the priests imprisoned, grouped together, and sent to Portugal under various charges. The most famous Jesuits in Brazilian history were, without a shadow of a doubt, the priests Manuel de Nóbrega and José de Anchieta, as well as the priest Antonio Vieira, consecrated for the publication of his many sermons and for his unsurpassed intelligence and erudition. In the mid-19th century, the Jesuits returned to work in Brazil. Today, they are still engaged in educational activities, but no longer with the luxury they enjoyed in the colonial period. Did you like the video? In the description you will find the blog link with the full article. Give an incentive by subscribing to the channel, liking, commenting, and sharing with your friends. Hugs. Until the next.